Hello and welcome to my desk. Well, I got about an hour before Tour de France starts on TV, so I was thinking why not sit and do a super relaxing tone quick painting, and why not turn on the camera? So here I am. What caught my eye is this Tundra Orange from Smincke. It's in my palette here, and for some reason I super like this granular color, but it's very rare that I mix it into be a dominant color in a drawing. So I want to give it a chance today, and it may sound a little bit like, I don't know, if you are a watercolor enthusiast like I am, you will be able to look at your palette and then this one color speaks to you. So that's actually what's going on today, that I want to give myself an excuse to use this Tundra Orange in a big piece. And I'm thinking about painting a landscape scenery of Egypt because that was like super easy and quick, and also maybe you guys want to paint along and do your rendition of it, and you are most welcome. I am on Instagram, so if you tag me over there with a picture of what you've done, it could be fun for me to watch. My IG is the same as my channel name, Miss Linux 2010, with the ad in front of it. I think I should invite, since it's gonna be like, I'm thinking like a sunset, I could actually go with this orange in the horizon, and then I'm completely going to do the sky and everything in this Tundra Orange, and then plot in some of the other colors. But so far that's the plan. That is the plan. So I think I'm gonna wet my page first. This is not the thickest GSM watercolor paper, so I think it's gonna buckle up on me. So I just recently did a watercolor drawing over at my Patreon where I used a ton of water and it buckled up, and it was on the same paper. So this time I'm trying to be more moderate with my first splash of water. So now it is having this wet surface that the granular paint likes to dance on. I think I want to put in the horizon orange first because I'm not really sure how that's gonna travel. And okay, now I need to make a decision whether it should cover some of the pyramids or not. I'm just plotting it in. Don't you just love how it moves? Watercolor on wet. And oh yes, let's get some of this Tundra Orange in. The trick with granular watercolor is not that you really go strong with it. If you put them on lightly but on a very wet surface, the granular components are gonna show up pretty fast. But if I had like a very thick application, it might not, you know, be as playful as you hoped it to be. Oh, this is like really, like, I love this. Can you see how the paint is just spreading on the paper? This is what I wanted. I don't mind that it's in stripes because I think I'm gonna continue the stripes going forward. Oh shoot, I hope that the camera picks up how lovely it looks, the way that it's separating out. I love this. I love this. Okay, maybe I should try and just mix in some of the Tundra Orange with that can you even call it an orange? I think what I tried to mix, it's a homemade pan, this orange one that I got, and it's inspired by bean paint salmon pink. So I think I got some orange in there, and then also some crimson red, I think. I don't know, I forgot. But it is a homemade mix. Maybe a little bit more of that. Yeah, here we go. Oh man, I love the way that it's spreading out. Okay, in the same puddle, I think I'm just gonna build it up, you know, by just putting in other sorts of pigments. So now I'm putting in, I think it's a core paint actually. Transparent burnt iron oxide. I think that was the name of it. This porcelain palette that I have here is a mix of all my favorite watercolor brands. So there's not like just one generic brand in there. And then most of the pans, I would say like 90% of all the colors in these pans are mixes with watercolor. You know, like it's not like I squeezed something just out of the tube. I experimented and mixed other stuff into it. So even I have a little bit of doubt with telling you what exactly I'm painting with. I think I should go darker and then end up with a really dark umberish color in the bottom here, or in the end of this page. This is so likable. So I think I'm gonna switch to this color here. Let me first see how it looks in itself. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, already now I'm sad that the paper is over. Don't you feel the same when you're doing drawings like this? You know, where you're basically just doing stripes of color because you want to see it run on the paper, and then suddenly you're at the end of the paper. That's a bummer, but you know what? I could let this dry, and then I could pick up the exercise one more time and paint on top of this, because that will give a much more saturated result. But so far I love that soft look that it has. So I'm gonna let this dry a little bit. So it has dried up a bit, and the normal people would kind of stop here. I should too, but you know what? It was just too fast for me. So now I think I might wreck it, but I want to give it a whole wash of this same Tundra Orange, because I really want to play with that Tundra Orange. And the question I'm asking myself is, how would it look if you put a complete glaze over all these colors, and how would these colors peek through the Tundra Orange? So yeah, now we are I think Jane Davenport called this for joy, joy, destroy. When you deliberately are going overboard with something where you know you should have left it alone, but this is just a piece of paper, so no regrets. The question that I am thinking about in my head is, how is this granulation going to behave when you work with a wet bead? So this wash here, I'm just constantly gonna feed the bead, which is like the end drop. You know, this is a bead. Can you see that wet? You just constantly feed it with new pigment. So I just want to see, how does the granulation actually play when you just keep feeding that bead. Ah, this is like pure therapy for me. And I love that I have like this super simple sketch on my drawing. Because when you're gonna destroy something deliberately, it's cool that you just have a simple sketch that you know you can recreate. So in case you have like second doubt. Like, I really think that I had a beautiful horizon line, you know, with that orange, but I can make it again another day. So now I just want to answer the question, how does a granular glaze look on top of an underpainting? I'm hoping to get that grainy look to the whole page, because some of the colors that I use down here are non-granular, so they got like a flat way of drying up. The texture is looking flat, so I wanted that granular texture on the whole sheet. Yeah. The doing process of this is very fulfilling. You know, there's not a lot of technique here, it's just adding this color lower and lower down on the page. So this is actually a very good drawing to make on days where you just want to be a little bit creative, but you don't really know what to make. This is the last. And I always like draw over the tape edge, because then if I got running water, I can pick it up without having it back pooling, making blooms on the edge. Well, here it is. I think I'm gonna blot off on the masking fluid the excess color, so when I rub off this masking fluid, I won't unintentionally rub in those splotches. Okay, we're gonna let this dry. I actually like what I see. I like that I can see some movement, and I can see some already some speckling going on here. So because it's granulation, I'm gonna let it dry naturally. But look up here on the sky. Don't you like that texture it had like right here? Yeah, I like it. Okay, it's gonna dry by itself, air dry, so that the granular components can just take its time getting locked into the paper. But so far, I am getting inspired to maybe come on top of this with pen work in the end. So see, one idea leads to another. It's all about just getting started. You know, sit your bum down on the chair and then start up. And then ideas and inspiration will come to you. Okay, I cleaned up that tape also. Okay, we're gonna let this dry and come back to it. Okay, the paper is still moist. For some reason I cannot walk away and just leave it alone to dry. I want to come on top of it. So I'm thinking about taking a shiny shimmer paint and then just do some line work on top of these hills here. And then slowly I can maybe turn it into some sections. So if I really wanted to come on top of this with pen, and I really think that I should, I would have some designated spots to do some doodling in. That would be nice. So I'm just plotting in line work here. This art style here is something I see a lot on Instagram. You know, just this abstract kind of thingy. So there's nothing new into this. But am I content with the darkness of this color here? Don't you think that this down here could be much darker? Or should I still give it a chance to dry up? Okay, I'm gonna give it a chance to dry up. Okay, I want to go nuts. I want to put in more colors. Now I'm thinking about this lavender. I think it's Smincke. It's still one of those granular colors. I think I just want to put it down here because I want this to look dark, but without using like a black color or something. So we're putting in a lavender on top of it. It shouldn't be that bad of a choice. And I'm just going from side to side with stripes. So it's like very easy. And oh, this turned out like super messy. So if you don't like the way it laid down, just repeat the motion with your brush. Yeah, I think it darkened it up in a very nice way. I think I want to play with this section here too. This is getting more and more stupid. What could I add to that so that it will look very different? How about I'm looking at my palette. Okay, I'm gonna try and use this pinkish color here. Look how opera-ish it is. Oh, yeah, I like this. This opera on top of that brown background is giving a nice feeling to it. Like just softened it up a little bit. And this section here, well, could we play with that? How about this? This is a little bit darker, but it's still in the pink shade. Ooh. Oh, I like this. More of that, please. Yeah, that was like really likable. I think I want to plot in more of the shimmery paint. Maybe deviate a little bit from all the, you know, that section it got right now. So maybe I should try and do just stripes in the wet paint. Just so I don't get something that's so divided into a section. And maybe this striped line work would inspire me to a fun doodling. I don't know. I don't know. I don't really have a doodling plan right now. Yeah, I like it. I'm gonna let this dry. But I think it's a shame that this beautiful pink puddle is going to waste. So I think I'm gonna put it up in the top of the sky just to see. Oh, I like it. Just add in a little bit of shift in color up here. So now I wonder if I should try and make that seem like some sort of evening sky coming in. Yeah, that's likable. Let's try for fun to get some of those shimmery stripes up in the sky also. Just so we have like that shimmer on the top and then below the painting. I think maybe that stripe that's going past the moon could go all the way. I like it. It's getting more and more strange. I'm not so sure that I like the ending of this line work up here, so I'm just gonna erase it a little bit with a wet brush. Okay, I'm gonna let this dry now. Okay, while it's like gently drying up, I think I want to work on the shadow side of the pyramids by using this color here. But because I want it to be granular, I want to mix in some of the Tundra Orange just to get that granulating component into it. So I'm just gonna flip the page because it's easier for me not to dip my arm into this wet area in the bottom of the page. And I think I'm gonna start at the tip, so maybe I am able to get a nice finish that somehow is going to bleed into the ground. So it doesn't look like I just painted in a triangle shape, if you know what I mean. So that might be the easiest way for me to paint in this pyramid. Ooh, I'm painting outside the lines. I got some graphite line work hinting the shape of the stones, and I hope that when this dries up that it will still show those small graphite lines. Okay, and then a lot of water to do the last part here. There we go. Okay, I like this. Okay, now I'm gonna let it dry. So I took off the tape on the edge because I don't think that I will come in with a lot of color now. I'm still waiting for the pyramids to dry up, but already now I can see how cool it is that I mixed in the Tundra Orange to give granulation, and it's like all over the page. Like, can you see all the texture? The granular specks is like all over the page. So it actually wasn't such a bad idea to give it a wash with the Tundra Orange on the whole sheet. So I kind of like that. That was sort of what I wanted, because it looked a little bit weird only having granulation up here and then flat colors down here. Okay, I want to rub off this masking fluid to reveal the moon, or the sun. I think it's the sun actually. I was thinking about, should I draw in silhouettes of like camels or something, but it just brings back bad memories, so I didn't do it. But yeah, this could be a cool piece if you painted a silhouette of a caravan of camels, for instance. But yeah, you may wonder why does it bring back bad memories? Because you know what, our trip to Egypt was gorgeous. There's so much culture down there, and then there are so many ancient sites to visit, and it's a treasure if you like studying old Egyptian culture. But the bad thing is that the way people are treating tourists is just horrible. I feel that it was like scam central of the world, and I remember to this day a lot of the incidents that happened. So I actually think it was one of the worst places that I have visited ever, you know, traveling, because it was just, you couldn't walk and be left alone in peace. You know, there's like constantly somebody who wants to scam you for money, and it was just I don't know, it was so unpleasant. But yeah, I think I want to color in the sun in a shimmery color, so I picked my Paul Rubens shimmery palette, and I think I want to go for like a yellowish on the sun, a yellow shimmer, just a little bit, not a lot. So I'm just gonna put some water in there to activate it. But yeah, while that's activating, I can, okay, let me just tell you about what we experienced when we visit the pyramids in Giza. First of all, we come into this checkpoint where you have to check in, and then they freaked out because my hubby was carrying a camera. A camera? Yeah. But they just don't like you to be able to record something. Oh, I forgot to say it was like a digital handheld camera. They really don't like when you are recording something. So there was a lot of hustle going back and forth in the entrance, because they want him to put away the camera. And then we had to pay 100 Egyptian pound to the guy who told us that we were not allowed to have a camera. I mean, that was so weird. Like, I don't know, but I think 100 Egyptian pound is about $2 or something. So we just paid the guy to be left alone, and then we were allowed to take in the camera with us, but only if we carried it in our backpack. So the pictures we have from Giza is taken with our phone. It's okay. I mean, the phone takes okay picture, but we wanted to shoot some footage, you know. So yeah, that was that. Then you come in, and then there is this huge plateau where all the pyramids, I think 9 of them in total, are standing. I think I want to take some of that purplish residue from my palette and carry it through the moon. They were renting out horses. I think it was horses and camel rides. And they were just harassing you from the get-go. Like, You know, they wanted you to use those animals, and I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to support those kind of things because I feel so sorry for the animals. So I always say no to be dragged away as a fat tourist on the back of a skinny, malnourished horse or camel. So it was just annoying that they wouldn't understand that we were simply not interested. And then we approached the pyramids, and then there was this guy, and from afar we noticed his trick, so we didn't fall for it. But mostly my hubby. My hubby has got like his radars out. He spots so many things that I don't spot because I'm kind of stupid, you know. So I would definitely get totally mugged if I was traveling in Egypt alone. He sort of saved us through the whole trip. But from a distance, my hubby noticed that there was this dude. He was picking up tourists approaching the pyramid, and then he was showing this keychain with a badge or something. And then he was guiding people towards the pyramid. And then when they were there, he asked for money, you know. So my hubby, he was like, is that really his scam? Like, how weird is that? So we approached this guy, and sure enough, he comes towards us, and he shows us this homemade, I want to say like Pokemon keychain plastic sign. It looks like something he printed out really bad from a computer. And then he tried to convince us that he was a tour guide, you know, so he wanted to see our tickets. And we didn't want to give him our tickets, so we said no, and then just tried to ignore him. So he went to another guy and asked, you know, I want to see your tickets. And then that guy gave him his tickets. And then he took those and then just showed him, that's the pyramid, you got tickets to enter. And then he wanted money. He wasn't working there, you know, like it was just a scam. And then I don't know what happens if you don't want to give him money because he's got your tickets, you know, like, so it's very unpleasant to be a tourist when there are scammers like that. And then the whole plateau is filled with black-dressed men looking like police or something, like military police. And what they do is that they call you over to them like, psst, psst, come on, psst, psst, psst. And then you're like, me? Okay. And then you walk up to them, and then they say something, rah, 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 you don't understand. And then they do like this. They want them, you know, they want that you give them tips. I mean, for what? For what? It was just, so we had to tip this guy, and then first my hubby gave him 50 Egyptian pound. That's like $50. And then he kind of got mad, like, argh. So he gave him another 50. But what was so uncomfortable for us was that he was carrying a machine gun, and he was looking like military, and just the fact that he wanted a tip was just clashing with this authoritarian fear that you have, like you don't want to get in trouble with any sort of military force or something when you're traveling. So he was making a fortune, I'm telling you, just luring tourists over to him and then asking for money. So that was just ferocious to watch. It was just and then when you walk in this plateau, you are bumping into people who are selling scarves, and we saw the scarves down in the city in Hurghada in the shops, and they cost about 50 to 100 Egyptian pound. But at that plateau, they were selling them for 500 Egyptian pound because they wrapped it on the heads of the tourists and also allowed them to take a picture with him standing next to it. 500 Egyptian pounds. That was so, I don't know, oh my god. It's just a complete rip-off. But the biggest rip-off is, we were talking in the bus home with some of the other tourists about, oh my god, they were so ferociously with scammers at this Giza Pyramid Plateau that it was uncomfortable to be a tourist there. You were constantly harassed by people dragging camels, walking after you. Oh yeah, the thing about walking after you, that was not just on the plateau. There was also in the ancient temples. You go in as a tourist, and then suddenly this guy is following after you, starting to talk and talk about what you're seeing. Like, oh, this is a temple of Nefertiti, and this is a statue of Tutankhamun, and they just point, and then they ask for money, like they were your tour guide, you know. And there was a ton of that on this plateau, because there was a certain viewpoint where you could stand and see all 9 pyramids, and just the fact that they walk up to you, approach you, and tell you that if you go in that direction, you can view all 9 pyramids. Tip, you know. So we were talking about that in the bus on the way home, and then these people who actually tried the horseback riding, they told a scary story. They were approached by a guy near the pyramids telling them that, oh, he works there as a guide, so he's not going to ask them for money, but he actually knows a person who is offering horseback riding very inexpensive, and you won't be, you know, scammed. And then you kind of know the price from the entrance, because they're just standing there saying 200, 500, you know, like 5 or 200 Egyptian pound for a horseback riding. So you kind of know the price, because they're, you know, advertising it at the entrance. So this guy said to them that for only 100 Egyptian pound, they could horseback ride to the next pyramid. And they thought it was super reasonable, and it is like super hot and a long way to walk. So they took that offer, and then when they got off and had to be, you know, pay the guy, he told them that, yeah, the 100 was for him, but the horse need 400. So he kind of scammed them, you know, like he cost only 100, but the horse is like 400. So oh my God, it was just, I have just never been harassed so much as a tourist as when we went to Egypt, and it was everywhere. Our first walk into the trap was on our very first trip down. We landed in Hurghada, and the whole trip is to stay a couple of days in Hurghada, and then we took a desert ride through the desert to get to Luxor to watch some temples, and then from there to Cairo to watch the pyramids. So it was some sort of a paid guided tour. You know, it was arranged, you know, a package deal, or what you would call it. So we were walking with the same group of people throughout our whole trip, and it was just hilarious to hear other people talking about all this scamming thing. But one of those most significant first scam that we had was our taxi ride from Hurghada resort down to the Hurghada city. We took a taxi, and then before we got into the cab, we wanted to arrange the price, you know? Like, so my hubby is, the taxi driver was saying something atrocious, like, I'm just saying like 500. But the concierge at the hotel told us that it cost 100 Egyptian pounds to ride with a cab to the city. So my hubby, he kept saying like 100. And the cab driver, he was like, no problem, just get in, we'll figure it out. And my hubby was like, no, we have to agree on a price before we get into this car, you know. So they agreed on 100. And then we get to the city, and then he wouldn't let us out because it was $100. So not only do you have to agree the price before you get into the cab, you also have to agree on the currency. So there was a big verbal fight between hubby and taxi driver, because $100 is like, it's like 1,000 more than 100 Egyptian pound. I mean, the exchange rate is just so big a gap. So it was obviously that it was a scam, right? So what my hubby did, which I think was super clever, is that he asked me in Danish to find the number for the hotel, because he wanted to call up the concierge at the hotel. And while I was digging for that number in my bag, he told the cab driver a lie. He said, you know what, we're here in Egypt because my sister is getting married to Ismail, so that's why we're here. So I'm just going to call Ismail, he's going to talk to you and then convince you that this price that you're talking about, $100, is atrocious. So we're just going to sit here and then make Ismail come to this cab. We're not leaving. And I was like, when he said that sentence, like, we are not leaving this cab before Ismail is going to come here. And I knew that Ismail was like this lie, this figurative person. We don't know any guy called Ismail, and my hubby is a lonely child. He doesn't have a sibling, you know. So I was just thinking like, oh my God, how is this going to end out? Are we going to sit here for like 10 hours because we cannot manufacture an Ismail to come to the car? But for some reason, the cab driver, he didn't want to get into arguments, so he was just like, oh, get out of my car, just give me my 100 Egyptian pound, and he was so pissed. So we got out of the car with him yelling at us like he was freaking angry. So that was really uncomfortable. And from that moment, my hubby was just in some sort of protection mode for the rest of the trip, and there were so many things. Okay, I'm just sitting here rambling. I should actually concentrate a little bit about this drawing here. I took out my markers because I was thinking maybe I could do some sort of doodling. So I just found a color group that I think would go well with this color scheme here. So I think what's going on now is that I'm just going to sit and doodle while I let my mouth run. And let's see if I can remember more of the Egyptian scams. Oh, there was like the perfume store. That was epic. Okay, we're in this little store. Actually, we didn't decide to go into that store. We were kind of dragged in from the street, walking down the pavement, and then suddenly this guy is just kidnapping you to go into his store. And because we're stupid tourists, we follow along that, okay, we can see your store, and then maybe you will leave us alone, you know. But inside the store, he's selling these tiny, small, cheap bottle of perfumes. And they are made with just generic, nice smell, like vanilla or cinnamon, or, you know, like something that, I don't know, that wasn't, like, bad. So, I, of course, found a little cute bottle that I think I should bring home as a souvenir. And then I don't remember the amount of money, so now I'm just making up. Let's say it cost 100 Egyptian pound. And then because we were just landing there, it was, you know, first days, we didn't have small bills of Egyptian money. So my hubby handed him what was, let's just say, 500 Egyptian pound, which means that your change should be 400 Egyptian pounds, right? No. This guy refused to give my hubby 400 back in change because he had this awesome deal. You know what? Instead of giving you your change, I'm going to give you this perfume and 50 Egyptian pound. So that's like a negative way of selling extra things, you know, like refusing to give people their change, but then pick something random crap from your store, and then just pay people like 1/5 of your change back. So of course there was a lot of beef going on, and he was relentless. And my hubby, he was like, you know what, you don't seem to understand that I just want my change back, and I actually want to annul the whole deal, so we're not buying the perfume. We just want all our money back. And he was like, no, 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 I already wrapped in the perfume, which he did. He wrapped it in, and he actually wrapped it in pretty fast. It happens like this. You go into their store, and then if you pick up an item, they will pick up the same similar item and start wrapping it in. Like they take that you touched and picked something, they take that as an initiative, like, oh, you bought this. So don't look with your hands, just look with your eyes when you're in Egypt, okay? And then my hubby, he was like, you know what, this is just going out of hand. If you don't want to give me more than 50 Egyptian pound in exchange, I'm just gonna grab this. And then he took this giant statue looking like, I don't know, some sort of, it was just like an alabaster stone or something, this giant statue. And then this guy was like, no, 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 that's worth thousands of Egyptian pounds. You know, like, no, 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 that was just out of the question. But then my hubby started to use his tactics against him, like, no, you said yes, so I'm gonna grab this statue and then the perfume, and then we're out of here. And then it ended with him getting back his full 400 Egyptian pound in change. But guys, we spent more than half an hour heckling with this guy. So that refrained us from walking into several stores, because we were thinking, oh my God, you cannot go in and browse and then go out, because you can risk to be trapped in shit like that. So you will spend like half an hour extra just arguing with people. That was horrible. I'm telling you, really horrible. Okay, this pen here is an acrylic marker where the nib is sort of dried out. I think I'm gonna dip it just lightly into water from my rinsing jar and see if that can kickstart it. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. But yeah, the Turkish bazaar is, don't go to that. I mean, it is not worth the problem, the heckle. It's basically a street with stores that sells crap, and the thing is that you are not allowed to walk quietly on that shopping street. People are pulling your sleeve, starting a conversation with you, want you to come into their store, and it's just, I mean, that was like scam central. And then at the beginning of the bazaar, there was this guy, and he was greeting us like, hey, don't you recognize me? I am, and then he said something name, I am one of the staff at your hotel. I work in the kitchen. And we just kind of knew that that was not possible, because we just arrived with a bus to Luxor, and all our luggage was going to this hotel that we didn't have the keys to yet. So we haven't actually physically been in the hotel, only our luggage has visited the hotel. So we were like, sure, you're just lying. And then he was just talking like, you didn't see me down at breakfast? I'm the one who's serving your breakfast. Come, my uncle have a store. And then he wanted to drag us into a store, but we refrained by telling him that, you know what, I think you're lying, because we don't have a hotel at the moment. We haven't been in a hotel. So there, I don't know what the end of that story would have been if we actually, you know, had a hotel stay and then thought that he was one of those guys. Now I'm thinking, should I rub this with a baby wipe? Okay, now this video is turning into how to kickstart an alcohol marker. I'm gonna take the whole nib out. It's just a plastic nib, so hopefully it can endure that I'm manhandling it. When I shake it, I feel that there is a lot of product in there, so it's not like it's empty. Okay, plan B. I think I'm gonna run this nib under some hot water. Why now? Yeah, because I'm stubborn, you know. If I run into issues like this, I'm just getting stubborn. Now I want this marker to work. So I'll be back. Okay, the struggle is real here. I run the nib, I took it out and then ran it under hot water. Still not want to work. Now I want to see if I can exchange it. Like, I'm taking out the nib, right? As you can see, there is a lot of product going into the nib, but not down to the tip. So I want to see if I can just pick a similar marker. I'm really asking for trouble here. First, get it going. Okay, this nib is going, right? And I'm gonna take out this nib and plunge it into this nib here, this marker. And to make sure that this one doesn't dry out while I am having fun, I'm gonna put the gold nib into this one here so that won't dry out. Okay, let's see if we get, oh, we got lucky. Now product is coming out. I guess it's just a nib that's destroyed. And I know that the shimmer in these metallic markers are obstructing the paint from flowing, like the non-metallic pens where the paint is flowing more liquidly. I think that's it. Okay, I'm gonna use the heck out of this pen because it's probably going to end in my bin. There's nothing more annoying than a pen that doesn't work, so it's a waste of time. I'm just gonna bin it, but I'm just gonna get the last out of it. Yeah, I'm just trying to do some small doodling, just to put some marks on this area here. I just want to see how it looks. I'm just making round circular movements. Looks like nothing special. But oh, while I'm here, I think I missed shadowing my pyramids. Now I dare not to cap this pen since I got it somewhat going now. But yeah, Egypt is filled with the tricksters, so it's super annoying to be a tourist there. And they're everywhere, everywhere. They go to places where they know that these big buses of tourists are arriving. So you cannot avoid them. It's not like there's a secret hangout spot where you can be left alone. They're like everywhere. And the saddest part is the kids. There are these kids begging for money on the street, and then we were told that if you give them money, another person is taking that money away from them, so the money is not even ending up in the kids' pockets, which is so sad. But they kind of figure out that tourists got a soft spot for kids who looks like orphanage, like street kids, you know. So what they do is that they pass you up on the pavement, and then they walk next to you, and you don't understand what they're saying because they don't often speak English, and they're just talking to you like so it's kind of, I don't know, it's very frustrating actually. So yeah. But the biggest scam I heard about in Egypt, and it was from one of the tourists in the bus, was the shoe shining guys on the street. The perfect scam. Okay, I think I'm gonna cap this up and then work on the shading on this pyramid. So if I want to go back and doodle on it, I can give it a chance to dry up. Now I regret that I peeled up the tape, but maybe I can go very close to the edge. I just want a little shadow casted. not a lot, just a hint of some shading. I think it just needed that. So I'm just picking up the residue on the palette of the colors that we worked with. Ooh, let's see if I can paint to the edge. But yeah, the shoe guys on the street is kids. And their scam is, and oh my god, you gotta hear this. They want to polish your shoes, and that is actually a thing. If you have visited the Valley of the Kings, you come back with really dirty shoes, you know. So you may agree on a price like 500 Egypt pounds to get your shoe polished, and then when you hand them your shoes, both your shoes, to one guy, he gives the other shoe to his friend. So two boys are now working on your shoes. And then the first boy is finished with the shoe and hand it over, and you pay him the 500. And then the second guy also wants 500. And of course you're not gonna agree with that. And then that is not their scam. It's more elaborate than that. Then in the blink of an eye, the one kid who you refuse to pay because that was not part of the deal, that you should pay double the amount, he takes off. He runs off with your one shoe, and then you're standing back with that one single shoe that you paid for. And then this guy comes in from the left, like chasing off these shoe polish guys. Now I'm throwing out that pen. I don't want to sit in stress with it. This guy comes in like a big rescuer, like the one who can see that, oh, stop scamming the tourist. So he runs off the guys. Oh, what went wrong? That was not... Oh, look, I can't even talk and do this at the same time. I did a mistake. This was the one with the nib from the gold pen. That's going into the bin also. Yeah. Life's too short for this. They cost too little, these acrylic markers, to sit and fight them like this. Okay. He comes in and then he's like, oh, I'm so sad, and now you only got like one shoe. How could... That's not gonna work. But listen, my cousin owns a store where he sells shoes, and it's just past the street, so come with me. And then you just have to walk like a few meters to enter that store where you apparently are going to buy a pair of shoes, because you need a pair of shoes to continue on your day. So the whole scam is that the shoe store is actually working together with the shoe polish guys so that he can sell a pair of shoes. Isn't that just crazy? And then this guy on the bus who told us about it, we were like, no, really, get out of here, you know. And he was like, yeah, and you know what me and my wife was talking about, because they actually had visited Taj Mahal in India, and they couldn't understand why there were so many street booths selling one shoe. So he said it's probably a scam that's not even developed in Egypt, but comes from India, where there is exactly the same trick going on. And then instead of running out, throwing out that one shoe that they stole from the tourists, they are trying to resell that. So in case that somebody refuses to go into the suggested shoe store to buy a new pair, you can go to this street booth and buy a random one shoe if you're missing the left or the right, and then hump back to your hotel. That is, what a way to make a living, right? Oh my god, look here, I'm just sitting here trying to stubbornly get this marker going. I think the metal destroyed the nib, because now this one is giving me issues. Yeah, I'm gonna throw out this one too. Oh my god. But seriously, it is frustrating to have pens that don't work. Okay, now I just really wanted to use that pen for this doodling down here. So now I got one more chance with this. Oh, these are old acrylic markers. I think they are more than 5 years old. So it's not the brand, guys, it's not the brand. It's just the fact that they are, yeah, they are they're ready to be retired, let's call it that. Now I'm just going in with dots here. Maybe now where I lost the two colors that I really wanted to sit and doodle with, I should just be content with doodling this corner here. Yeah, that was annoying, but it kind of took out the mojo of doodling. So I think I'm just gonna, yeah, just stop it right there. But I kind of like what I see, and I love that granular look, that hazy, dusty, and the way that it's carried out throughout the whole page. It's just very likable, super likable. Also, look at this moon of sun up here. So yeah, I think I covered my need to sit and play with watercolor for this morning, and then actually got a likable page out of it. I can see myself do another rendition of this, but with a totally different color palette, like dark purple. That would look so awesome. And then of course there is this green. Can you just picture that, like a greenish page spread like this? That would be like really likable to do. So instead of swatching colors when I'm bored, you know, I like to swatch things, and I can go crazy, and I do swatches like this where I am taking, in this case it's all my sets of Kuretake Gansei Tambis, and then I just swatch them on one sheet, telling myself that, oh, it's gonna be a tool so I can see which colors are duplicated and what I have, my total Kuretake collection. But to be honest, when I create a sheet like this, it's out of boredom, because I don't want to paint a painting, but I do want to sit and play with my colors. But I think that this motif right here is going forward going to be a go-to object to sit and play with colors, because it invited me to mix on top of the underpainting, coming in with new layers. So now I'm just rambling because I want to end this video. I'm sorry for being so unhinged in this one here, but I just wanted to turn on the camera and take you guys with me on my little painting session here. So bye bye from me, and I wish you a nice weekend. Bye bye.